So hello, Spooky Reads fans. So here I am out in my front yard with Ruby. This is Ruby. She's been a Halloween decoration for my family as long as I can remember. And past few years she's enjoyed this porch swing that we have out in our yard. So Ruby and I are here to talk to you about Broken Monsters by Lauren Beukes. So that's Beukes. I'm not sure the origins of her name, but in case you can't tell how to spell Beukes by hearing it, that's how you spell it. And I only know how to say it because I looked up how to say it. But Broken Monsters is quite a horror story. On the surface, it's a police procedural, kind of. You've got a detective, Gabriela Bersado, and she's called into a crime scene and is investigating, but the crime scene is just this stuff of nightmare. Like, you're like, what in the world happened here? And I'm going to read you a bit of the description of the first crime scene momentarily. The book, though, isn't really a police procedural, even though I guess the plot kind of is. You know, it's about trying to figure out who this killer is and why he's doing the things that he's doing. But it's also about the detective's relationship with her daughter. It's also about the serial killer in that sense of, like, trying to understand his mind. And we do end up with some chapters in his point of view, which are they're very powerful to read. They feel kind of hallucinogenic, and you feel a little bit like you can almost see where he comes from. And that's always a masterstroke, I think, in a work of horror, is when the author can make you empathize and sympathize with the evil, which you can a bit in this story, and that really adds to the creep factor. It's been described as genre blending, and I think that's a good description, because it's body horror, and it's police procedural, and it's relationship, and it's also a little bit of a portrait of a serial killer kind of feeling. So there's a lot of different kinds of books that all feed into what this book actually became. So I'm going to read to you from partway through the first chapter. This is the detective at the first crime scene. As you might have already guessed, there's more than one crime scene in this book. Detective, the uniform says, because she's just standing there, staring down at the kid in the deep shadow of the tunnel, her hands jammed in the pockets of her jacket. She left her damn gloves in the car, and her fingers are numb from the chill wind sneaking in off-river. Winter baring its teeth, even though it's only November. Are you? Yeah, okay. She cuts him off, reading the name on his badge. I'm thinking about the adhesive, Officer Jones, because mere superglue wouldn't do it. Holding the pieces together while the body was moved. This isn't where the kid died. There's not enough blood on the scene, and there's no sign of his missing half. Black, no surprise in this city. 10 years old, she'd guess. Maybe older if you factored in malnourishment and development issues. Say somewhere between 10 and 16. Naked, as much of him as there is to be naked. It's entirely possible the rest of him is wearing pants, with his wallet in the back pocket and a cell phone that won't have any minutes, but which will make calling his mama a hell of a lot easier. Wherever the rest of him is. He's lying on his side, his legs pulled up, eyes closed, face serene. The recovery position. Only he's never going to recover. And those aren't his legs. Skinny as a bing pole. Beautiful skin, even if it's gone yellow from blood loss. Pre-adolescent, she decides. No sign of acne, no scratches or bruises either, or any indication that he put up a fight or had anything bad happen to him at all. Above the waist. Below the waist is a different story. Oh boy, that's a whole other section of the bookstore. There's a dark gash right above where his hips should be, where he has been somehow attached to the lower half of a deer, hooves and all. The white flick of the tail sticks up like a jaunty little flag. The brown fur is bristled with dried blood. The flesh appears melted together at the seam. Officer Jones is hanging back. The smell is terrible. She's guessing the intestines are severed on both sets of bodies, leaking shit and blood into the conjoined cavities. Plus there's the gamey reek of the deer's scent glands. She pities the ME having to open up this mess. Better than the paperwork, though, or dealing with the goddamn media. Or worse, the mayor's office. Here, she offers, fishing a small red tub of lip gloss out of her pocket, something she bought at the drugstore on a whim to appease Layla. A candy-flavored cosmetic that's sure to bridge the gap between them. It's not menthol, but it's something. Thanks, he says, grateful, which marks him out as an FNG, fucking new guy. He dips his finger in and smears the greasy balm under his nose. Cherry-flavored snot. With sparkles in it, Gabby notes for the first time, but does not point out. Small pleasures. Don't get any on the scene, she warns him. No, I won't. And don't even think about taking any pictures on your phone to show your buddies. She looks around at the tunnel with the graffiti that grows on bare walls in this city like plaque, the weight of the pre-dawn darkness, the lack of traffic. We're going to contain this. They do not, remotely, contain it. And that's the end of the first chapter. So I think you can see what I mean about the body horror, right? Somebody is killing people and taxidermying them together with animals and doing a damn fine job of it, like where they kind of look like they're all one piece. And the horror of those descriptions really got me every time that it happened across the book. And I love and hate body horror. It's like, I'm sitting there reading it like this, like, ah! But at the same time, I have to admit I'm fascinated and I'm not putting this book down. So there you go. It is called Broken Monsters by Lauren Beukes. And I hope you'll check it out. Happy Halloween. Happy reading.